Hey, what's up folks? Welcome to episode 13. So we're going to do something a little different today. Been kind of wanting to explore more of the economy of the game here. So this isn't going to be quite progression based. What I'm doing here is I'm starting a mine, a lead mine. And going to be clever about it and call it Get the Lead Out. So this is my first time doing anything like this, kind of exploring a little bit. If we go and try to trade with this factory, you'll see that there's nothing there. There's a little tip at the bottom there telling us that there's no storage. So this can't produce any lead because there's nowhere to keep it. So after fumbling around in here for a minute, I found the build menu. And yeah, let's get to it. We give it some storage space. Everything you think it would need. Storage, generators, shield generators. Those docks don't really function the way I think they would. Yeah, let's give it plenty of shield. This thing naturally has plenty of hull because it's a giant rock. Covering these little bits here with armor, just in case the shields get penetrated. I do want to withstand this thing to, or build this thing to withstand a beating, because there are no other friendly ships in this sector whatsoever. There's really nothing in this sector except asteroids. Get some crew quarters there, and I slap some glass on the front just because, I don't know, I like to give people a view. And then, hey, you slap some weaponry on there, right? And that was what kind of surprised me about this whole thing, just how tough you can make these things. I still have plans on building a station at some point, but this is kind of the start of that. Yeah, right away you can see just how bad we need crew. Lots of crew needed. So I kind of ignore that for the moment and end up slapping some more generators on it, shield generators and whatnot. I did put some systems in there in the beginning, but I skipped that part of the video because I ended up going with different systems later down the road. Yeah, and I try to, like, what happens if you stick a thruster on it? Can it move? No, it doesn't. Crap. Well, it was worth a shot. I had to try. Yeah, the thruster doesn't even activate. We'll cover that shield generator with some armor eventually, once I get the sizing right. Building on this kind of scale after just messing with little ships is kind of a challenge. So, what I had done here, I had a cargo ship that I built. Oh yeah, you can see just from sitting there, it had taken quite a bit of damage. Because there's no mechanics on board to keep everything running properly, it's just steadily destroying itself. So this is a ship, a cargo ship that I had built to store my stuff mostly. And it's got some crew on board. I'm going to use this place to store all my stuff from now on, so I figured I don't need this cargo ship for the moment. I'm going to transfer, I actually already did transfer all the crew over, and I think I've got to just pull all the systems off of it. But here's a good look at that ship. I'm pretty proud of it. Rob this of its systems. It's got a few pretty good turrets on it that I'll be needing as well. And for now, we're just gonna get rid of it. And it's been destroyed. I get a refund for the materials I used for it. It did have some cargo still on there, but it's mostly junk, and I'm gonna still pick it up anyway. So, still working on getting the crew together. Still missing quite a few things, and eventually I just had the bright idea of hiring just general crewmen. I transferred over a couple of crew from my ship that I didn't need, and I just hired general crewmen for the rest. Overpopulated my ship completely, and then transferred them over to the mine, and it's good to go on crew. So it's doing its thing now. It is producing lead. And I was trying to get these dock things to work, and honestly, you don't really need them. Yes, now we're going to get some good systems up there. Plenty of turret controls, because I want this thing to have some good firepower. Yeah, I figured on each of these corners I would build kind of a weapons platform where you can just, stick turrets on so that it'll have a good line of sight from all around the asteroid itself. And want ships maneuvering around the asteroid and then rendering the turrets ineffective because they couldn't see them. So I kind of took it a step further and I started building this. It's not a ring because it's a box. But, yeah, just a perimeter, I guess you could say, of just generic hull. And I'm going to use that to stick the weapons on. As you can see, that didn't match up perfectly. I was off by a few blocks. But no biggie. Function over form. It's just gotta work. And then I figured I would stick these, crap, what are those called? Integrity field? Integrity field generator, something like that? Some little pylons there for the perimeter. Yeah, integrity field generators, basically just in case I lose shields, I wanted these blocks to be protected. Being that that's where the turrets are going to be located, I didn't want to lose any of that. And then of course all my other blocks here. So we get our first test here. I'm kind of just sitting back and letting the mine defend itself. What I tried to do, I was treating this thing a lot like a ship. Because if you have a ship and you put a pilot on there, or a captain rather, it doesn't need independent targeting weapons. It can use your standard weaponry, and you can tell it what to do. You can give it orders. So with this station, that's what I did. I put a captain on it, and I just told it to defend this position. And it wouldn't use anything except for the independent targeting weapons. So a lot of things about this station make it function as a ship. That is not one of the functions it can do. So unfortunately, I had to revamp it all. What I did was arm it completely with independent targeting turrets, and I basically went for the ones that had the best DPS and the best range. Because this was set up, the mine is set up in like the corner of the sector. Whenever anything hostile or otherwise jumps in, it always approaches from this side. So I was like, okay, well, let's just put the bulk of the weaponry over there. So I made two kind of weapons platforms that stand up off of that perimeter. One of them is a Xanian slab, and the other one is Trinium. The Xanian one is there just obviously so I can mount Xanian weapons. But I had been doing some grinding and some destroying of other ships out there, so I found some more independent targeting turrets. Kind of made it a point to hold on to them. And I got my cargo ship back, by the way, because we are selling lead now. But yeah, here's the trick: independent targeting only. Yeah, you can't put thrusters on an asteroid, and then you gotta mind your range. Make sure you have line of sight. Those are your tips for success. So here's my little weapons platforms, and they are doing their thing. I definitely went with the longest range turrets I could find. There's a quad cannon on here with a range of 20 kilometers, which is pretty awesome. And you can see it's going to town on this bandit. I don't think he's even had a chance to shoot at the station yet, and his shield is almost gone. So I'm pretty happy with how that's worked out. And railguns. Who doesn't love railguns? Yeah, that's the quad cannon I was talking about. It packs a good punch. It doesn't always land with all 4 hits, or all 4 projectiles, but most of these bandits and the Zotan and stuff, their ships are not very fast. You know, nothing compared to the stuff that we build. So, yeah, this bandit's going down. And yes, I do have torpedo defense turrets as well on here. One at the top, one at the bottom, and they have some pretty great range too. And yeah, that's what I ended up with, was 5,000 Omicron with the firepower, and I'm totally happy with that. With the amount of shield and hull this thing has, that's plenty for it to keep itself defended. So, on to the business end of this. I did end up building that cargo ship, again, that same cargo ship, because I wanted to see, what's the point of all this if I can't make money out of it? So, here's what it comes down to. That lead that we're making, it just so happens that there's an ammunition factory not so far away, and guess what? They need lots of lead. So we're trading them some lead. This is just my escort ship, my standard ship. And if I fill its cargo bays, it's about 65 grand worth of lead. And then the cargo ship, which obviously has a lot more cargo space, it can carry basically 2,000 units for about 630 grand. It's pretty good money. So if we look at that, 65 grand and 630 grand, that's what we just made on this trip. 695 total. I spent 12 million building the station. If we divide that by 695, we'll see that it'll take us 18 trips in order to pay for itself. So anything after that is pure profit. And both of these ships are capable of making it back to the mine in 2 jumps. Next episode, I'm going to go collect the second to last Zotan artifact that I'm going to need. I'm going to face a set of bosses called the Collectors. But of course, when we get there, the whole sector is full of pirates, and they give me a hard time.